Part of what the CPC may face in you trying to put your foot down for the consumers could be interagency rivalry. It's possible that you may get one agency saying, whoa, 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 just back off a little bit because, I mean, you may be encroaching in that territory. Has any such thing happened? And if it happens, how do you plan to handle it?
Yeah, it has. And I'll tell
Oh,
you, I'll
okay.
tell you from an incredible angle. I've just told you that I took over office barely 9 months ago, and putting into practice the law as it is. And I've investigated several companies because my way forward with regards to the abuses that I've found is to do a sector intervention as against attending to individual complaints. Because when you do a sector intervention, it has a way of filtering to all the organizations within that sector and fasting system cleaning up. And so I've had an intervention into the food and beverage sector, and I've investigated one of the biggest companies, food and beverage company in the world, and I've found grave breach of safety and quality standards. I've gone into the aviation sector, and I'm investigating one of the airlines that abandoned 50 passengers overnight at the tarmac in Abuja. And going to your question, that's when I got a letter from NCAA to say, get out of our space. You have no business protecting passengers. And that is strictly their theft.
That's amazing.
That's why I said you will be surprised at what's happening. And I'm wondering, if the consumer protection can't protect passengers, what is NCAA doing? NCAA has come up with a passenger's bill of rights.
Yeah.
There are two components to that. There are the portion of it that allows the NCAA to fine airlines for every delay, and so forth and so forth. There's a second component that is meant to protect consumers, which nobody has activated. On coming to office, I found that out and I said, bring that out. Because the law allows the CPC to ensure the compliance to every consumer protection legislation, howsoever. We're allowed to implement it.
So your duties cut across every facet of society?
Product and services. If you are not consuming a product of some kind, you are using services. So our mandate is to provide redress for complaints of product and services. So that means everything and everything, which means all Nigerians are constituency. And so with that, I asked that the passenger's bill of rights be brought up. And I looked at it, and it provides ample protection for passengers, air passengers. For every hour that a flight is delayed, you're entitled to a refreshment of some sort. For 2 hours, you're entitled to a meal. If your flight is cancelled within the period of 4 p.m. and 2 a.m., you should be put in a hotel and ferried there to and fro at their expense. If your flight is cancelled without notification, you're entitled to a refund of that and 25% more. There's so more to come in that Bill of Rights, which nobody brought out. And I did call a press conference when I got that, and I said, tell this to the public. This is what they are entitled to. And based on that, I started an investigation into the airline that abandoned 50 passengers on the tarmac overnight. So they had to sleep in the plane. And at some point in time, they were asked to, some SS, I'm told, came and took them out of the plane. So they slept at the arrival lounge of Abuja airport. And NCA tells me that I have no business in the airport. So whether it's rivalry or whether it's lack of understanding of the law, I don't think it's rivalry. I just think that some organizations have not taken their time to read the CPC legislation and to read their own law and to know where they stop.
Is it possible that the same way the average consumers in Nigeria didn't understand the responsibilities of a CPC to them, is it possible that other agencies do not understand your role as well?
I can pardon the consumers if they don't, but the agencies, they have no excuse. They should be able to understand their roles. They should be able to understand every other role or role of every other agency that they think their paths cross. They have legal departments. They subject our laws to their review and come up with an understanding. So I'm not ready to excuse any government agency that does not know its mandate and other mandates for which you may have a seeming overlap. Because with this Protection Council, there are other agencies that have consumer protection, sort of. NAFDAC, for instance, which a lot of other people also misunderstand, they regulate, but they are not empowered to redress in terms of complaints. They are to standardize food and drugs. So if you have a problem with a fizzy drink, a bottle of drink, for instance, and you find substances in it, you don't go to NAFDAC. They may have the regulation as to ensure that there is a BB date, there is a NAFDAC number, and all the rest. So I should expect that they would understand from their own law if they have the powers that we have to address complaints.
They should refer that to you.
They should refer ordinarily, but they don't.
Institution.
They should refer because we are the protector of consumers.
Because I'm trying to see who is more important here, because you go to places, now you just mentioned the airports and some other places, you see boldly displayed rights or duties of the consumer towards that agency, but you don't get to see the rights of the consumer, that what he or she is entitled to. So in a case like that, now you said, you just painted a vivid description of or scenario of what happened, to the extent that these people had to sleep on the lounges. They should be compensated, right?
Absolutely.
So who takes charge of such compensation when such rights are breached?
That's what I'm saying, that I've started an investigation.
On that particular matter?
And it's almost over.
How did it get to you? Did anyone call?
Yes. I got calls, and I even got a lawyer who represented about 40 of the 50 people sending a letter to us, based on which we've started. The beauty of investigating is that you start with a little thing, because investigation allows you to call for any information that you want, documents, whatever it is that you need to help you take a decision as to whether this right, whether a consumer has been abused. And the one I did with the food and beverage company took us 4 months, including paying an unscheduled on-site visit to the plants of the company all over the country. And it's amazing, the findings. So with the airlines, I also wanted to go beyond just this incident to find out a lot more about other infractions of consumer rights. And so they have come in and they've given me the necessary report, which since I have not made the report public yet, I would not want to dwell in it, but just to say that there will be a finding and a report on that event, which will help me to, like I say, begin to clean that sector. Because the report is not going to dwell on that singular issue. It's going to also address other issues and other complaints within the aviation sector.